Hey guys, Evie here to do a video today about my doll Aguilar. I wanted to apologize because I know last video I uploaded was very blurry, and that's because I forgot to put on HD, so it uploaded and it was very blurry. And I was also kind of rewatching some of it, and I noticed there's quite a difference between someone being on the screen kind of talking versus somebody in the background and you're just looking at like a doll sitting still. So I was like, I'll try it in front of the screen today, and that's probably gonna be the reason why I'm looking in the wrong place, because I try to look at the camera but my face, I can't, because I'm forward facing the screen, so I can't, kind of having a hard time like focusing on the camera and not on the screen. So if I'm looking in the wrong place, I apologize. I will try to look at the camera. Anyway, yeah, this is my doll Aguilar. I wanted to do the BJD character tag, but first I wanted to talk about his story, kind of, his personality a little bit, little background, because those questions are specific. So I was like, I'll talk about him a little bit. And he's wearing some doll heart clothes right now, just because that's what I had. And he's also wearing this cape that I made him. I really love those R-Rabbit capes, you know, the gray ones. A lot of people have them, and they're really nice. I really wanted one, but I loved this fabric and thought, oh, it'd be perfect. I'll make him a little capelet. It's not done. It still has pins in it. I want to put snaps here so it stays closed, because if I don't, it looks like a giant semicircle on his shoulders. And he also needs a collar. Right now I just have the hook and eyes and don't have the collar put in yet, so it needs some work, but I love this color on him. I feel like this is something his character would wear often. Just kind of a simple little capelet he'd put on when it, you know, was cold in the morning while walking through the woods, or, you know, doing whatever. But anyway, Aguilar is a vampire, because the reason is because my imple doll Deborah is a vampire. So because of that reason, I needed another vampire to go in his story, and this is how I caught him before he fell and hit his head. But anyway, yeah, I needed another vampire in the story, so I was like, why not? Because I just wanted this head so bad. He just happened to be my first full doll because I wanted the head. But I'm really glad I have him, because I feel like his character, now that he's a full doll and he has a name, it's like his character's starting to come to life a little bit, and I'm really excited about that. It's starting to work out the way I had hoped it would, because I know a lot of people, when you get a doll, or when they get a doll and they're like, you know, I have this doll and I thought they'd be one thing and they turned out to be another. And I think that's really cool, because I feel like it's really interesting how just the doll's sculpt and what they wear and what wigs you put them in really changes their character. And for me, this doll shaped his character more. I feel like I get more of his character from him now that he's a full doll. And so, but I actually kind of want a doll that, this is going to sound silly, I want to buy a doll for the purpose of making him one character and then have him turn into another character. Whoa, sorry, Aguilar. Turn him into another character, just because I think that's really cool when that happens, when you're just kind of surprised that this is what they turn out to be. Anyway, regardless, Aguilar. So, he's a vampire. He is a special vampire. He's, I'm going to call him Sentries. Sentries, words are hard. But, it's S-E-N-T-R-Y, Sentry. And that's because he has, one gold and one silver eye. He is a special kind of vampire. And there's nothing really physically different about him other than this genetic mutation that led to him having these two different colored eyes. That's literally the only thing that makes him different from other vampires. And this wig trying to cover up his gold eye is not intentional. I just got to cut the wig. He looks kind of emo, and it looks like I'm trying to hide his other eye, but I'm not. Just for clarification. But anyway, so he's this special kind of vampire. And since he's a special vampire, he kind of has a presence in the vampire community, because First of all, he lives in a world that's, on a planet like Earth, except it's a planet with this big continent, like a Pangea type of deal, and there's like islands around it, and there's rivers and all this stuff flowing through it, and it's just this giant continent on this giant planet, and there are the vampires, humans, mages, and probably some other mythical beings out and about, but they're kind of the main groups, and he's, a vampire. But he has this kind of, since he has this gold eye, he has a presence in the vampire community, I guess, race. I don't really know how to describe it, but he has to he goes to like festivals, and he is at important people's weddings, and he goes to elections, and that's what he kind of has to do. He has to have this, he's like people look up to them, these types of people with this mutation, because there's only been 5 of them. Because the story starts off with Roman's birth. When he's born, he's the 5th. Him, and there's another one that's living, so these special vampires, and then there's 2 others that have died. So there's only been 5 known to exist. And they're really, like, important figureheads in the community. But the thing is, Aguilar doesn't like people. He doesn't hate, there's very few people he hates. The only people he hates are dead because he killed them, and they kind of deserved it. But he hates very few people. For the most part, he just doesn't like people. He likes quiet, he likes being alone, doing his experiments, because he likes, making potions and doing alchemy with plants and just kind of being by himself. That's his whole thing. He just wants to be alone. It's not because he hates anyone, but he just doesn't like the presence, or he doesn't like having people around him. That's his deal. He just wants to be alone. He gets annoyed very easily at others, and he'd prefer to be elsewhere. But because he's a special vampire, he has to have presence in the vampire world, and he hates that. He resents it because he's like, I haven't done anything. I have a gold eye. What does that matter? Thing about it, though, is he has done a lot for the community. He has, because whenever he experiments with plants, he just does it for fun, and he finds out, if you have this plant combined with this plant, it makes your headache go away, or whatever. He freely shares that information. He doesn't he just is like, found this out, here you go, I'm gonna use it for myself, and you guys can do what you want with that information. But that's his whole deal. He's like, he freely shares information. He's discovered a lot of cool things, but he just doesn't get why he has this obligation to be important in the community because he has a gold eye. He thinks it's ridiculous. And there are few people he hates, and there's very few people he likes. For the most part, he's indifferent to a lot of people, but he dislikes a lot of people that like constantly annoy him. Like the people that make him basically like, he could technically go in the woods and just hide in the woods and be alone, but he just, for the sake of not arguing, he goes to these festivals and is in the community just because it's for the sake of just doing it because he knows he has to, kind of thing. He hates it, but he feels an obligation to do it anyway. Sorry, I got a message on my phone. Playing The Simpsons tapped out right now, so I get notifications every moment. If you haven't downloaded that game, it's really fun, and especially if you like The Simpsons, but regardless. So yeah. He doesn't want to be involved in anything. He wants to be alone in the woods doing his thing. So Roman is born, and that's where the story starts off, is when Roman's born, and he's another special vampire. He's got the gold eye. And the whole thing about it is he's not a rebel because he hates his parents. He loves his parents very much. He likes, his friends, family, blah blah blah. He likes society. He likes being kind of pampered, like, for not really doing anything. He likes that. But one thing that fascinates him is magic, and the mages and the vampires aren't friends. They don't like each other at all. And they stay separate from each other. They live in separate parts of this continent. But Roman becomes fascinated with magic and starts to kind of dabble in the magical arts. And Aguilar really likes that because at first he thinks he's doing it to be rebellious. Then he kind of realizes, okay, he just has this fascination with it. He's not doing it to rebel, unfortunately. Aguilar would have loved that, just to rebel, doing it just to rebel. But he thinks it's hilarious because he kind of laughs at society like, oh, you make us seem like we're these important people, and here's one of your like sacred vampires, and he's doing magic, the biggest crime because that's like the crime, like could be a death sentence for a simple thing, is like doing stupid levitation magic or something. Vampires do not like magic at all. And so he's kind of like, ha! Or Aguilar's like, ha! Gotcha. This kid that you worship basically is doing one of the worst crimes in the vampire society. So that's why he starts to have a soft spot for Roman. He's like, this kid's great. He loves it. He loves that he's doing this. But he loves that and all, and he starts to kind of look out for Roman because of that. Not because he's supposed to, because he's like supposed to teach him the way of the special vampires, the sentries. He's supposed to teach him the ways, and he's like, he starts to teach him how, because Aguilar borderline does magic. He does potions, which it's not good, but he's a sentry. He can get away with anything, basically, except that's the thing. When I haven't decided if the vampires are going to find out if Roman's doing magic or not. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. But he teaches Roman a little. Roman actually finds a mage tutor who hates the mages as well. So he's like, screw you mages, I'm going to teach a vampire magic. That'll show you. So that's kind of what happens with Roman. That's where his story starts to go. He starts to get taught magic by this kind of vampire, not vampire, this mage that hates other mages, for reasons. But that's where Roman goes, and Aguilar is there every step of the way, because he's like, I kind of want to do magic too. He kind of starts to think like, why didn't I think of this sooner? Like, he starts to be like, wow, I could have been doing magic, doing this horrible, horrible thing in the vampire eyes, and screwing all over these other vampires, and I never thought of it. So he's kind of like, it's a good idea. But, yeah, that's where Aguilar's at. He's just, again, he hates very few people. The only people he hates kind of deserve it. They were not nice. I'll talk about them later. I won't talk about them in this video. But that's his whole deal. He just doesn't want to be around people, and he kind of is like, he kind of takes the childish route of he does magic to spite the vampires, whereas Roman does it because he just has a genuine interest and love of magic. But that's Aguilar in a nutshell. He's like a rebel, basically, without a real cause kind of deal. But yeah, so that's basically what happens with him. I haven't done any other real thinking about him that much. But yeah, he's just my full doll right now. He might change completely. Honestly, this is just a temporary kind of, I need him to have a story, because he can't just be a doll without a story. I mean, he can't do that. Well, he could, but I want him to have a purpose other than to be pretty, because he is very pretty, but I want him to have a purpose. So, that's Aguilar. Again, I'll probably do the BJD character tag and, like, answer those questions and kind of talk about him a little more, because I do like talking about him. But if you have any questions about my story or Aguilar or anything, leave a comment below. I hope to see you all again in the next video. Again, I apologize if I'm looking all over the place. I'll try to do better next time. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.